affiliated to World Health Mental Health Federation, India. Ma'am, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really honored and humbled to be here in this platform today as a keynote speaker. I wholeheartedly congratulate all the delegates, speakers, and other participants today here. And today my topic is on microbial symphony. How many of you has heard about this psychobiotics on the recent days? Psychobiotics. One second. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Thank you. So, mental health plus probiotics was initially thought as psychobiotics. Psychobiotic is a subject which is really quickly gaining respect in the field of cutting edge of medical research. It started in the year 2013. This emerging subject investigates the fascinating possibilities of manipulating cognitive performance and the mental health. So let's listen what is psychobiotics. It is a basically it was thought as a probiotics only, but later on it was gut microbiomes used to benefit mental health is known as psychobiotics. This is what after the over a decade of research, researchers has understood it is not just probiotics, but both prebiotics and probiotics together made psychobiotics. The term psychobiotics was first initially founded by Dinan et al. Has been coined and differentiated the gut microbiota, modulating the preparations that influence the brain function and mental health. This psychobiotics encompasses both probiotics and prebiotics, the nutritional factors of the intestinal microbiomes. This psychobiotics affect the CNS, central nervous system, and its related functions via the mediation of the behaviors controlled by the gut-brain axis via the neural, immune, and metabolic pathways. All of us have been continuously hearing about the gut-brain axis over few decades. So these interactions serve to improve gastrointestinal functions. So the psychobiotic strains have been reported to inhibit the inflammation and decrease the cortisol levels, thus alleviating anxiety and depression symptoms. They differ from the conventional probiotic in their ability to produce or stimulate the production of neurotransmitters, like short-chain fatty acids, enteroendocrine hormones, and anti-inflammatory cytokines. This potential made the psychobiotics have a broader spectrum of applications, ranging from mood and stress elevations to being an adjuvant in therapeutic treatment for various neurodevelopmental and neurodegenerative disorders. So they have different types of psychobiotics. In experiment, probiotic psychobiotics, the bacteria most commonly used are gram-positive bacteria such as Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus families. These do not contain lipopolysaccharide chains, reducing the likelihood of an immunological response. That is the probiotic psychobiotics. Prebiotics are substances such as fructones and oligosaccharides that induce the growth or activity of beneficial microorganisms such as bacteria are being fermented in the gut. Multiple bacterial species contained in a single probiotic broth is known as polybiotic. So before going deeper into psychobiotics, we will just brush about what is gut-brain axis. Few decades it has been studied, and it was a very fascinating science about human microorganism and neuropsychological functioning. The gut is the...
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry for the interpretation.
Yes.
Your slides are not changing, ma'am.
Okay. Can you see this way, ma'am?
Yeah, ma'am. Now, ma'am, could you please share it in slide mode, sure?
Yeah, when I shared it in slide mode, it is not moving. Is it moving now?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Okay.
moving now.
Thank you. So the gut is the home to a unique and diverse community of microbes, collectively known as gut microbiota. This composed micro ecosystem plays a crucial role in our overall condition, including mental health. That is also called a second brain because of the enormous number of nerves found there. The gut is referred as a second brain. The vagus nerve is the major nerve that runs from brain to the intestine. The parasympathetic neural system, which regulates the mood and heart rate, digestion, and immunity, is primarily controlled by the vagus nerve. So what are the connection between or the impact with the psycho emotions? The most common thing is lactobacillus and bifidobacterium or SLGA, 45 to 50% of total body productions of norepinephrine occurs in the mesenteric organs. This suppresses the stress. And again, catecholamines stimulate growth of gram-positive organisms, and bacteroides fragilis also increases the anger and fear. These are some of the findings that microbiomes have their own impact on the gut-brain axis, have their own impact on the psycho-emotions. Evidences also points that alteration in the gut-brain microbiome communications as being responsible for IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, obesity, and several other psychiatric and neurological disorders. So it was a very small pictorial representation of gut-brain axis, how it responds to the stress symptoms and motility and barrier functionings, mucus secretion and neurotransmitters. On the other hand, it was also like connected. The composition of gut microbiota reversely helps in the vagus nerve activation of the mucal immune systems and bacterial metabolites and also bacterial neuropeptides. Very importantly, in the gut-brain axis, what the study says is the dysbiotic microbiota can comprise or reduce, resulting in the tissues and organs being flooded with the molecules. That thus gut dysbiosis not only causes physical health problems, but also it causes Parkinsonism disease, Alzheimer's, and major depressive disorders kind of things. So moreover, the negative feedback loop can actually exacerbate the gut dysbiosis. Very important thing, the gut dysbiosis is not only caused by the medication or antibiotics. Mainly it is caused by the poor lifestyle and lack of exercise and high fat, high sugar, and high salt consumption. That is nothing but junk food consumption and lack of eating vitamins and minerals, that is fruits and vegetables, and also complex carbohydrates.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, again your slides are not changing.
I'm sorry. Can I use this way? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have everyone seen this picture? Shall I move on to the next? So what is the history of the psychobiotics? It was started in the year 2013 by Ted Dinan, coined the name, and 2016 Zucker et al. Definition has expanded, and they said it is not just probiotics is dealing with the psychobiotics, it's also prebiotics are dealing with this. And 2020, the studies were increased post-corona. The studies were increased, and the connection of dysbiosis is also found. And from there, the study has took a very wide area of connecting physical and mental health. So some of the studies I thought of presenting today is psychobiotics for, I have taken very recent studies from the year 2023, psychobiotics for mitigation of neurodegenerative diseases. In this study, they say that many evidences beneficial effects on psychobiotics on neurodegenerative mental disorders like Alzheimer's, Parkinsonism, and MDD, major depressive disorder. These effects of the psychobiotics on emotional, cognitive, and central processes are mediated by influencing the HPA axis and immune system and by increasing the production of neurotransmitters in the human body. Furthermore, unlike the existing pharmacotherapy for these mental disorders, psychobiotics have not shown any substantial side effects till date. That is the plus. Thus, psychobiotic treatments can potentially improve the quality of life for the elderly individuals with these neurodegenerative conditions. So the study also gives some points to ponder, and work over it. They say is that we should elucidate the precise mechanism of action of psychobiotics on psychological disorders in humans, because more of animal studies are available and human studies are just gearing up. Determine the magnitude of variation in psychobiotic effects among individuals. Identify specific strains with the most, because the strains are identified very in less numbers. So the most strains has to be identified. Determine possible dosage requirement for the psychobiotic use as a clinical therapy. Ascertain their potential use as an adjuvant with the current pharmacological drugs, and identify possible side effects that may occur in target populations. Till date, the target population, side effects of the target population were not studied. So that also has to be studied. The next study I wanted to show you is the intervention in the treatment of IBS. So in this study, they have concluded that the gut microbiota composition with irritable bowel syndrome is similar to those of people with depression. So when the properly planned treatment, including probiotic supplementation, is improving both quality of the life of IBS patients and also reducing the depression. So the use of psychobiotics, which have been shown to decrease the stress markers and reduce intestinal complaints intensified by stress, may have additional benefits and increase the effectiveness of therapy. The best studied probiotic strain that reduces the IBS symptoms and simultaneously exhibit psychobiotic effect is Lactobacillus plantarum 299V. It is recommended to start probiotic therapy with single strain or dual strain formulation with proven clinical efficacy. So the limitation they say in this study is it needs more studies in evaluating IBS related stress markers and emotional reactivity, as well as the studies evaluating the effect of psychobiotic on gastrointestinal symptoms, not only IBS, also on gastrointestinal symptoms. The next study is, this is still on process. The study, however, has different areas they have done, the effect of psychobiotic on anxiety as well as depressive symptoms. So they give us a very interesting findings. They use the anxiety scale, Hamilton Anxiety Rating Scale, and GAD scale, GAD, Generalized Anxiety Scale. So with this scale of 8 weeks intention, not too many weeks, it is just 8-week intention, they detected the patient with anxiety who prescribed SSRI antidepressants and Plantrum, also a significant results in their GAD score, generalized anxiety score was detected, and the SSRI and antidepressants along with the psychobiotic Plantarum has been given. So the data illustrated that probiotic supplement is feasible for adjunctive to SSRI antidepressants in the intervention for anxiety treatment. The next interesting study is on how the probiotic microbiomes are helping in the stability and perceived stress in healthy adult population. Perceived stress is a very common problem. So a short-term psychobiotic dietary intervention improved perceived stress in a healthy population while eliciting specific metabolic changes in the gut microbiota. Their findings hold promise as potential therapeutic and preventive approaches, thereby using dietary and lifestyle approaches to address the mental health concerns will become increasingly important and could become reflected in the future dietary guidelines, including the psychobiotic foods as well as psychobiotic strains will help the future dietary guidelines. So they also give a concern. This study provides one of the first data in interaction between diet and microbiota mental health. The subtle changes observed in the biological outcomes and limited sample size highlights the necessity for the future larger and longer duration studies to confirm the stress elevating effect on the psychobiotic diet. And the last study I'm going to present for this day is current state of the research for psychobiotic use in the management of psychiatric disorders. This is a literature review, and in this literature review, they have connected around 15 papers, and they say that overall tolerability was good in psychobiotic patients, treated with psychobiotics. Supportive evidences in their efficacy in specific psychiatric disorder is mixed, not 100% positive or 100% negative. It is a mixed responses. in several domains, the research is still in early phase of development. That's why, like for substance abuse disorder or even eating disorder, the very less number of studies are available. For substance abuse, it is only 3 preclinical studies are available, and eating disorders, it is only one review paper is identified. They encourage evidence to support further research, especially if focused on the identification of specific subpopulation that may benefit from this intervention. They say that there is a several limitation regarding the research in the field should be addressed. The majority of finalized trials are of short duration. There is an inherent heterogeneity of the psychiatric disorders, and the diversity of the explored field prevents the generalizability of the results from the clinical studies. So another one more interesting study is, there is a question of with the literature review again, are they the future intervention for managing depression and anxiety? So the answer from their study reported is, when considering the microbiome of human, it is important to recognize that beneficial and potentially harmful bacteria are present. It has been found that microbiota diversity is altered in those with depression and anxiety. So it is mixed. So this includes increased abundance of bacteroides, alstripes, and probacteria, and decreased amount of firmicutes, lactobacillus, bifidobacterium, lactospiria, and fecal bacterium. So alstripes strains have been found in abundance in fecal microbiota in those with depression and anxiety. Alstripes presents altered tryptophan availability in the body. Through this strain can be reduced with the diet therapy. This can be easily reduced with the diet therapy. On the contrary, a decreased amount of fecal bacterium, which is important for pityate production, may contribute to bipolar depression. This is what the microbiological study has found. The potential areas for application of psychobiotics. Before that, we have to understand what are the strains which benefit the human mental health. So I have listed the strain psychobiotics here and their benefits here. Lactobacillus rhamnosus helps in lowering anxiety, reducing OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and bifidobacterium longum helps in treating depression, reduces anxiety, and reduce cortisols. Lactobacillus plantarum has found to reduce anxiety, increase dopamine and serotonin, and also helps in lowering stress hormone levels and reducing inflammation. The Lactobacillus helvetis, it has shown reducing cortisol levels, reducing paranoid and OCD. It also helps in reducing the stress hormone levels and increases the serotonin level. Lactobacillus reuteri helps in relieving the social anxiety and autism. Lactobacillus cereus helps in treating fatigue, digestive problems, and anxiety. Lactobacillus fermentum helps in treating anxiety disorders. Bifidobacterium breve also helps in reducing anxiety. Galacto-oligosaccharides prebiotic psychobiotic helps in decreasing the secretion of cortisols and reduces the anxiety. So what are the considerations for further research? The very important consideration is dosage and administration, because if it is given in a very less amount also, it will not be effective. So the optimal dosage level is very important for treating the individual with psychobiotic conditions, and it is very critical for these things. And too little amount will not yield any desired results. Strain specificity is also important because different strains of psychobiotics have varying effects, as earlier said in the previous research. Some strains also give the negative results. So understanding which strains are most effective and for specific conditions, because some strains help in OCD, some in paranoid. So we have to be very specific in learning the strains and their specificity in applying or using the psychobiotics effectively. So individual variation is always possible because the response to the microbiomes is influenced by their genetic and unique specific nature. And also safety is very important, and we must always ensure safety of psychobiotic intervention, because every bacteria also has positive and negative intentions in everyone's body. So while they are generally, because some people are also allergic to lactobacillus conditions, so it is important to monitor for any potential adverse interactions, especially in individuals with compromised immune systems. And integration with existing treatment will help. It is very, very important to integrate psychobiotic strains along with the treatment, which potentially replaces the traditional treatment, requires careful consideration. So, what are the challenges we have in treating psychobiotics, using psychobiotics? The main challenge is we have a very limited clinical trials. Till date, huge number of animal studies have been done, but we are yet lacking human studies, and more researchers is needed in standardizing the protocols and also validating the effectiveness across the diverse populations, because most of the studies are done under a very smaller population. So we need studies on a diverse population, and regulatory frameworks is very, very important. Establishing clear regulatory guidelines for the production, marketing, and prescription of psychobiotic drugs is a real ongoing challenge. Long-term effects is still unknown. So again, studies needs to be extended to understand the impacts of long-term effects. Ethical consideration arise in the areas such as informed consents of the participants, especially dealing with vulnerable population, and in marketing and distribution of psychobiotic things. And public education is also another challenge. We have to educate the public with the potential, and we have to carefully give them a proper education and accurate information in dissemination, the key in overcoming this hurdle. So what are the future directions? Personalized treatment approaches is very, very important, and tailoring the psychobiotic treatments based on individual gut microbiome profile to maximize the effectiveness is very important. We can also combine the integrative therapies, exploring synergies between the other interventions and psychobiotics, like pharmacotherapy, psychotherapy, will enhance the mental health outcome and advance the strain development. We have a very limited strains has been identified. So identifying and developing specific strains with optimized psychobiotic properties for targeted mental health condition will help more. And long-term impact assessment is very, very important, because we till date we lack larger population and long-term studies. So this has to be immediately started, and innovative microbiome modulation techniques has to be followed. Investigations should be innovatively approached to manipulate the gut microbiome for the therapeutic benefits of mental health. And we have a very less number of pediatric studies exploring the potential of psychobiotics in children and adolescents for early intervention in mental health disorders. And delving deeper into precise ways of psychobiotic influences in neural pathways and neurotransmitter regulations of deeper neurobiological understanding is also required. And standardized clinical protocols can be done. Also, cross-disciplinary collaborations can be done as a future direction. In a capsule, psychobiotic is a specialized beneficial bacteria hold immense promise in positively influencing mental health. Their potential to positive impact well-being is supported by growing scientific evidences. Consideration like dosage, strain specificity, and individual variations are pivotal. Overcoming challenges in clinical trials, regulations, and ethical considerations will propel us towards a future where psychobiotics play a vital role in mental well-being. Thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you, ma'am, for your informative session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ramya and team, and all the best to all other participants. Thank you so much.
Now, I would welcome our second keynote speaker of the day, Mary Liz Oliver Stenovia. Research Associate, Health and Nutrition Lead in Seniforma, Colombia.